Coming up on Sports Extra, field hockey shuts out Duke to claim its 7th consecutive ACC tournament title. The football team, once with college football playoff aspirations, look to rebound after 2 brutal losses to sub-500 teams. And women's tennis claimed 2 fall championships in San Diego. All this and more, Sports Extra starts right now.
From the Hussman School of Journalism and Media at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
An ACC tournament trophy, a bounce-back win for football, and a weekend full of championships for women's tennis. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Jay Banzette.
And I'm Caroline Yaffa. Not to mention, basketball season is back and tips off tonight. We'll take you through it all right now on Sports Extra, live from the Curtis Media Center. On Friday night, the field hockey team faced off against Duke for the second time in 2 weeks. It was their 7th consecutive ACC championship game appearance, and UNC came to play. The game started off an intense defensive battle, but Riley Heck showed us how dominant UNC is with this goal that became SportsCenter's top play on Saturday. This put the Heels up 1-0. For the second and final goal of the match, it was none other than freshman Charlie Bruders, whose dagger bounced over the Blue Devils goalie. Carolina fans showed up to watch UNC fight hard in the tough matchup against Duke.
Nervous, which is of course normal. It's the ACC championship, but our defense is, I think, one of the best in the nation, and without them, we wouldn't be getting goals. So it all just came down to doing it together and doing it as a unit.
One of the key players for the Tar Heels all season long received a top honor after that electric win against the Blue Devils on Friday night. Heck was named the ACC Tournament MVP after scoring a goal in both of Carolina's games in this year's tourney. One against UVA in the semifinal matchup and another against Duke in the championship. Heck has led the Tar Heels in scoring this season with 11 goals and 28 points. Heck and teammates Charlie Bruder, Sana Hawk, and Yasmina Smolinars were named to the 2023 ACC All-Tournament team. To dive in deeper about what went right for the Tar Heels, let's take first-year head coach Aaron Matson inside the cage with Riley Kennedy.
Coach, I appreciate you being here with us today. We're going to break down a little film. So one thing I noticed from the ACC championship game was circle play, right? It was the awareness and the creativity inside the circle. So as an offensive player, kind of take me through and draw, what are you guys kind of trying to attack Duke, on this corner?
Sure. So a penalty corner situation, we're numbers up, so it's really about manipulating the defense, getting the ball around, and then throughout the year we have certain variations we run, and then the defense scouts us. So then tournament time, we pull stuff that we've been saving all year, switching it up. So here you'll see the insert out to the stick stop if you hit play for me.
Yep.
Great stop.
Stops right there.
You'll see it slip. Sietska right here, Bruning, will fake for us. It'll slip to Yasmina Smolinars, and if you pause it there, throughout the year, she's been playing this ball here down to Katie Dixon, and you'll see the entire defense shift that way because that's what we've been playing. But instead, she uses a deceptive sweep to Riley Heck here.
Okay.
She'll stop it. If you pause it, we've joked with Riley every single time because when we practice this corner, she has loads of time. So here, she actually takes a little too much time, but it works out. The Duke defender gets a good touch on it.
Right, it gets blocked right here.
Yep. However, she's on it, and this is the most Riley Heck goal ever. Using her creativity, goalkeeper doesn't know what to do, keeping it simple, but with her little flair.
How hard is it to air dribble? She said she used to do it as a kid.
Yes, she is so good at the ball on her stick, but the ability, when you see it come up again, the ability right here to control it and especially have the right trajectory on the ball and feel to just get it over the goalie, but enough where it comes down in the goal. It was brilliant, and it definitely deserved the number one.
Number one on SportsCenter. So now, third quarter, right? So now Riley, she gets it between 2 defender sticks, right, on Duke, and then Charlie, right, she shields off her defender, gets right in front of her. How hard is it to get it through here, But then how good is it for Charlie to get right in front of her defender?
Yeah, definitely. You'll see here if you pause it.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4 Duke players converging on Riley. Everyone knows she on the ball is a threat.
Right.
So she's converging, and that leaves us with open numbers in the circle back here. A little unselfish dish to Charlie, which is UNC field hockey, and Charlie Bruder, freshman, tons of potential, but tons of skill already. We've worked on a ton with her of quick shots because she's great with that power, but in times like this where she needs to choke up, get it off really quick, she just completely executed there. It was a little bit loopy. She was like, I was trying to hit my heart out with it. But, hey, on the score sheet, all it says is goal, and it doesn't need to be exactly perfect.
That's right.
And it's great to just see everybody celebrate. And, again, the goalkeeper had no idea what to do.
Now, where do they get, like, this awareness and their creativity? Because you speak on circle play all the time, and I felt that you guys really executed that. Now, they get this, like, awareness and creativity at a young age, or is it more, like, through the process, or is it more like when they get here?
Sure. I think it's a little bit of both. Depending on the club they came from, there's definitely more creativity in players versus others. And then here, I am all about all of the different ways you can solve a problem or, come to a solution and it still be the same outcome. So it's a goal here, but she could have pushed it. She could have taken it to reverse. She could have gotten it over, whatever it was the case.
So I saw Sana Hawks right on that backside, that backside post.
Exactly. Lisa's here. She could have dished it if she needed to. But whatever it takes to get the ball in the net is what we care about, and we have all of those conversations about the different ways to get there. So I love building that creativity and not, telling them the exact way to do something, allowing them to discover that and play with things. And here, Charlie made the right decision. Now,
Coach, you have to await the matchup, right, of Sacred Heart and William Mary. Mm-hmm. How hard is that, right? You only have one day of practice. Is that hard from a scouting standpoint?
I would say yes and no. It's obviously we like having a full week to prepare based on who we're playing. Everyone does.
Right.
But at the same time, at this point in the season, we know if we're training to our strengths and playing our game and everything, it's going to be a good matchup no matter who we're playing. So definitely using this week to focus on what we're doing, focus on us, and just getting better as us as a unit. And then when it's time to take into account another team's threats and opportunities and strengths and everything, then we'll get there. But we've done it before. We did it already this season, so it's no different.
Awesome. Coach Matson, thank you for joining us in studio, breaking down some film. Hopefully we can do it again. Good luck, right, the rest of the way. Caroline, back to you guys at the desk.
Riley, I'll see you at the field every time the Heels are there in the next 2 weeks.
At the end of the first quarter of Saturday's football game, Carolina was tied 7-7 with Campbell. We're not talking about Clemson, not even Coastal Carolina. We're talking about the Camels from Bowie's Creek. But then it was all Carolina all day, helped by this touchdown from Tez Walker. Omarion Hampton and the Heels held their foot on the gas and never let up as he ran 15 times for 144 yards and surpassed 1,000 rushing yards on the season. Cedric Gray held the defense together for a much improved performance, limiting the Camels to only one touchdown. And backup quarterback Connor Harrell got the opportunity to prove himself, and boy, did he take advantage. Harrell went 4 for 4 through the air, including his 41-yard bomb to freshman Chris Culliver. The Heels won 59-7, and this was a much-needed confidence booster going into next week's rivalry against Duke.
Nobody really understands how hard these guys work and how special they are and how tough they are. And for Tez to want to get back out there, he could have very well. Everybody's talking about NIL and all this selfishness. We don't have that.
We were lining up fast. The call was getting in quick. And I think that was just part of the pilot lights and who was working before. We weren't lined up. We were confused on what our job was. Today we weren't confused.
Omarion Hampton, the unstoppable running back for the Carolina offense, just reached a milestone that only the elite can achieve. On Saturday, Hampton rushed his way into the record books and became the latest Tar Heel running back to reach the 1,000-yard mark for a single season. It took Hampton only 2 quarters to rack up the 77 yards needed to reach the mark. However, he didn't stop there and finished with a total of 144 yards against Campbell. With Saturday's historic performance, Hampton now sits at 1,067 rushing yards for the 2023 season, obviously a career high. For a deeper dive into how UNC got over the losing Camels hump, got them, here's football analyst Rachel Kivlin on Routes with Rachel. What you got for us, Rachel?
Jay, the Heels had the Camels begging for a mercy ruling by the fourth quarter, finally giving fans a glimmer of hope after playing just bad football the past 2 weeks. The Drake May-led offense showed out, and Omarion Hampton reached his 1,000-yard rushing mark for the season, but the defense was the turnaround Carolina needed and the straw that broke the Camel's back. In the first quarter, the Campbell offense kept it tight and picked up what UNC defense coordinator Gene Chizik calls leaky yardage, these quick passes or runs for 5, 6, 7 yards, but the defense adjusted as the game moved on, resulting in 52 unanswered points. 3 things I saw I liked: keeping the receivers tight and not playing back to keep everything in front, sending the blitz and pressure, and playing up-tempo defense. What do I mean by that? Well, first, you can see the defensive back here is playing the receivers tight. He's keeping it at this 1-2 yard distance, and they are doing this in order to give a lot of time for the D-line to put pressure on the quarterback, send in a blitz, force some pressure, and keep an eye here on number 41, Kedrick Bingley-Jones, who is going to see this momentum shift, see this pitch that the QB gives the RB, and is able to pick up on this. And watch this, he's going to see the slight shift in the hip as he's able to just annihilate the RB. It is just good defense picking up on those tiny shifts in the hips and seeing the eye switches. Now, no one is going to be throwing the program a parade for bulldozing an FCS team, but going into Duke Week, a W was not a want, it was a need. Jay?
Rachel, what does Carolina need to do to keep the victory bell out of the hands of the Blue Devils on Saturday?
Well, the offense needs to keep doing what it's been doing, leaning heavy into Hampton and Tez Walker and not racking up stupid penalties. But this week, Chizik needs to hone in on the D before the Saturday matchup because the Duke offense is going to come in swinging.
Thanks, Rachel. I know all Carolina fans are anticipating an exciting electric clash.
We all know and love the students on the field who make Carolina football the incredible experience it is. In addition to the players, there are other students working hard for Tar Heel fans. Here's Sophia Pedroso.
Here Comes Carolina rings out. Explosions sound and smoke rises in the air as the football team runs out onto the field. Although eyes are on the football team, that is a moment made possible by the marching Tar Heels. There are about 275 students in the marching Tar Heels. Twice a week for 3 hours, they practice songs and performances that will be a part of a variety of Carolina athletic events.
Every piece of the game day experience is planned. Every day of the game day experience is procedural. We're moving from A to Z in a very specific order, which allows us to be the most effective members we can.
The marching Tar Heels get together, doing warm-ups, practicing in sections, and working through performances that they will later do in front of the sea of Carolina blue at Kenan Stadium. During a game, the marching Tar Heels perform at the half and fill the center part of the student section, playing songs, hyping up the crowd, and bringing the Tar Heel energy.
You know, most people think, it's just a bunch of excitement, it's for show us and that, but in reality, it is nice to have that background noise and pump up and get you going, get the adrenaline pumping, and it gets the crowd excited.
As the game ends, whether win or lose, Carolina fans and players get together in a moment of unity, driven by the marching Tar Heels playing Hartford Sound.
Carolina football is what it is, in part thanks to the contributions of the marching Tar Heels.
I'm Sophia Pedroso reporting.
The Heels will need all of the energy that they can get when they take on arch rival Duke on Saturday. The quarterfinals of the ACC men's soccer tournament had the 7th-seeded Heels facing number 2 Wake Forest in enemy territory Sunday evening. Carolina's Ahmad Al-Kwak scored in the 16th minute from outside the box, giving the Heels an early lead. With 10 minutes left in the first half, Carolina keeper Andrew Cortez had back-to-back saves. Cortez came through a second time with another save off a corner kick in the 85th minute. With a 1-0 win, Carolina will advance to the semifinals of the ACC tournament for the 17th time in program history. The Heels will take the field again versus number 6 Syracuse on Wednesday evening. Let's go to soccer analyst Caroline Routh to break down the thrilling upset in Caroline's corner.
Caroline, the number 1 rule in any sport is to not get beat. The number 2 rule is to never, ever get beat by the same play twice. You've got to learn from your mistakes. Well, UNC listened to rule number 2. First, I want to take a look at the Tar Heels' first game against Wake Forest to see what happened there and how they learned from it. So in this play, we see Wake work the ball to the right side of the box. Babacar Nyong takes it down, and we see UNC defense just jogging back into position. Nyong is able to weave the ball in, and Wake Forest is able to finish it. Despite Cortez's impressive effort in that game, the ball got past him. But Cortez wouldn't let that mistake happen again. On Sunday, he was lights out. Now you'll see in this next play, we're going to play a cross in. Wake Forest gets the ball in. UNC does a better job of marking up on their defenders here, but still Wake is able to get the header off. Although who is there to stop it? The one and only Andrew Cortez. Now, this last play that we're going to check out here is quite familiar to the Tar Heels. Let's check it out. We see Wake's offense was where? Of course, above the Tar Heels. But what do you do when you get beat? Well, you don't let it happen again. So Andrew Cortez is going to step up, put his whole body out there to make a huge save for the Tar Heels, matching his career high of 6 saves in one game in this Wake shutout. The keeper kept this one from the Demon Deacons. Caroline?
Well, Caroline, UNC moves on to play Syracuse in the semifinals on Wednesday, another team they fell to earlier this season. What should we expect from the Heels?
Caroline, the first Syracuse game was a 1-0 loss for the Heels, just like the Wake one. We saw UNC get it done last night in their Wake Forest road trip, and I think they can do it again on Wednesday.
Well, fans hope the underdogs continue to survive in advance. Thanks, Caroline.
It's finally here. It's hoop season, baby, and the men's basketball team hosts its season opener against Radford tonight at the Dean Dome. With the skeletons of last year dead and buried, and with the emergence of a more complete roster rounded off by freshman Elliot Cadeau, the Heels hope to start the year off with a bang against a non-conference foe. UNC currently holds a 19th place ranking in the AP poll, far removed from their first place berth at the beginning of 2022, but the retooled backcourt of Cadeau and R.J. Davis should highlight improved passing and decision-making across the whole team, hopefully inspiring another season of success for the Carolina Blue. Now, Caroline, one player we have not talked about yet is Harrison Ingram, the transfer forward from Stanford. What do you really expect from him this season?
So I'm expecting a lot from the new transfer. I'm expecting mobility, versatility, and R.J. Davis said after live action that he has a lot of confidence. They just keep telling him shoot, 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 and he needs to do that for the Heels. They have a lot of big guys on their roster who can really handle the ball, and I'm excited to see that.
You know, I cannot wait to see Armando Baycott leading a 3-on-2 fast break down the floor, addition to his right for an easy layup. But on the women's side, Deja Kelly also loves to lead those fast breaks, the leader of that team. Coach Courtney Banghart's in her 5th season. What are you expecting from the Carolina women's basketball team this year?
I'm expecting really big things from Deja. You mentioned Alyssa Utsby. I'm also expecting big things from the recruits. And they have really good games coming up. I mean, they have South Carolina, which is a top 10 matchup. I think sometime in November, it's going to be awesome. I hear it's almost sold out.
Let's get that student section so full. Let's get the line from Carmichael all the way down to the student store, all the way down the sidewalk. Excitement for that game. That's probably the biggest basketball game we have on campus outside of the Duke men's game. So let's get everybody there. Let's have a great season for both the men's and women's teams.
I'm excited for it. The unbeaten in dual meets so far this season, the UNC swimming and diving teams competed against South Carolina on Friday. The men's team won convincingly, with senior Patrick Huzzy winning the 200 and 500-yard freestyles. The women's team posted a rare tie despite Aranza Vasquez Montano sweeping the springboard events. Carolina women's water polo team is throwing down in the pool. They're showing off their arm strength in preparation for the upcoming competition schedule. Reed Miller has more.
Carolina women's water polo is one of a kind. Being the biggest club water polo team in North Carolina, the team of 30 brings together all backgrounds and interests. Not only are they competing against other teams, they're giving many women a sense of community.
It's the first friend group that I made here, so having a designated schedule and practice to come to a couple every week was just really nice, especially when I was a freshman, because it gave me a little family at UNC.
Carolina women's water polo has shown that through great camaraderie, perseverance, and hard work, that they can handle any team that comes their way, and with a little bit of fun too.
I can't ask for better friendships that I know will last me a lifetime and that have all formed because just one day I happened to run into the girl advertising for water polo my freshman year of college, and I couldn't ask for anything better.
The team hopes to lead the competition in their wake. They're a fearless group of Tar Heels not afraid to get scrappy for a win. I'm Reed Miller reporting.
The Heels are looking toward their November Invitational when they face off against conference rival UVA.
Coming off of 3 straight 4-set losses, the UNC volleyball team looked for a bounce-back weekend against Virginia Tech and Wake Forest. Against the Hokies on Friday night, the Tar Heels caught fire. UNC had a hitting percentage of .420, which was the Heels' highest hitting percentage in nearly 2 seasons. Imani Foster controlled the match with 13 kills and 4 blocks. The pure power behind her kills and her quiet leadership allowed UNC to jump out to an early 2-set lead. Despite faltering in the 3rd set, allowing Virginia Tech to get out to a 5-point lead, Maddie May's match-leading 13 digs helped the Heels to storm back, taking the match in straight sets. With energies high after defeating the Hokies, the Heels look to get another win against Wake Forest on Sunday. Set 1 and 2 were filled with kills from Imani Foster with 19 total and Mabry Schaffmaster with 12, along with Maddie May again keeping the back row on lockdown with 17 digs. The win was taken out of the Heels' sails, though, in the 3rd set. They fought hard in sets 4 and 5, but couldn't come out with the victory and lost 3-2 to the Demon Deacons.
Felt we were competing. We felt we were playing good volleyball. We get to go to their place on Friday and see how we can finish the job and play a little bit better.
Let's go to volleyball analyst Ashley Humphrey to talk more about this reverse sweep on Aces with Ashley.
Jay, this loss is heartbreaking and just another testament to this team's struggle to finish a match. While Carolina did start off very strong, the first 2 sets had a lot more to do with Wake Forest showing up unprepared and barely competing. Just check out these stats. I don't want to undermine what some of the Heels did and some great playing they had. Like Sadie Swift had 3 blocks. She was an absolute wall at the net. And the team played great on Friday, sweeping Virginia Tech, and everyone hit above 300. But Wake's hitting percentage is in the negatives here, and they had tons of errors for only having 21 attempts in the first set. And as you can see, as the sets went on, they began to improve that. Ultimately, this came down to who wanted it more and who was scrappier. Wake Forest began extending rallies after set 1, and points started falling their way. You've heard it said, never apologize for a win, and while this wasn't the prettiest win, Wake Forest is keeping their tournament dreams alive. I'm sure the Tar Heels want that match back, which should make for an exciting rematch on Friday.
Ashley, what needs to change in order for Carolina to get that win on Friday at Wake Forest?
Honestly, not a lot. Zoe Barrett, Maria Meggins, and Imani Foster all hit over 300, and Zoe had half of the team's aces with 4. But volleyball is a game of momentum. Mike Shaw does a great job at boldly challenging calls that usually end up falling UNC's way. So this team needs to be able to capitalize on momentum shifters like that, and that's just something they didn't do well in this match.
Ashley, we'll see if Carolina can pull it all together on Friday. Thank you very much.
The UNC volleyball team works hard at both practices and games, but Jonathan Collins tells us it's often the people behind the scenes who keep the team going.
Bryce Karcheski is one of 3 full-time managers for the volleyball team this year. He says that the job provides him with valuable experience for his majors in sports administration and business.
Kind of just working in towards a goal of mine, which is sports administration. I hope to use both the skills of that as well as the business school to kind of just combine those and work in a similar field. So being a part of something, being part of a team.
Despite the valuable experience, the long hours and demanding time constraints can be tough.
Not everybody wants to or can get up this early just because of classes and other restrictions, things like that. Especially game days, people have a lot going on. Those games are long. We're here 2 hours before the game, after the game, during the game, all of that.
The managers fill an important role for the team, and without them, practices and games wouldn't be nearly as efficient.
They help a lot. Like when we go to away games, we don't realize like how much we miss them because we don't like shag our own balls and we don't like put anything away and we don't get anything out. So when we have to like do it ourselves, we just realize how much like time they save us, and like that allows us obviously to like do more drills and like have more time like as a team together like on the court.
The demand for new volleyball managers is high. With only 3 members right now, Bryce encourages anyone with interest to try it out because the experience can be valuable and rewarding.
It's a really great environment to learn, as I mentioned. Just kind of working towards your personal goals as well as just kind of with a nice supportive staff.
I'm Jonathan Collins, reporting.
It's great to see how much the players appreciate the contributions of the managers.
The women's tennis team came into Sunday with a chance to claim not one, but 2 national titles at the ITA Fall Championships. In singles, Reese Brantmeyer took on an opponent from South Carolina in the final. After losing the first set 6-2, Brantmeyer began playing much deeper balls, pushing her opponent back and giving her more opportunities to be aggressive. Thanks to an early break on Ackley's serve, she took the second set 6-2. Brantmeyer broke Ackley's serve at 5-5 in the third, then served out to win 7-5. This is the second time in school history the Tar Heels have won back-to-back fall national singles championships. In doubles, the question was whether Brantmeyer would have any gas left in the tank as she teamed up with Elizabeth Scotty in that final. The answer was clear from the start of the match against Oklahoma State. Brantmeyer had that gas. The team had previously battled Texas Tech and the University of Oklahoma during the weekend. They started off strong, winning the first set 6-1. The second set similarly went their way, and the duo clinched their title with an out-of-bounds shot from Oklahoma State. This is Brantmeyer's first ITA doubles title, while Scotty previously won in 2021.
While the women were in sunny San Diego, the men's tennis team had a great showing in Winston-Salem at the Wake Forest Invitational. Senior Logan Zapp took home the 8-2 flight in singles, defeating South Carolina's Sean Daria-Beggy in 3 sets. Graduate transfer Will Peters won 3rd place in the A1 draw, defeating Luca da Silva from South Carolina in 3 sets.
This weekend, and back to full strength, the UNC Club Ice Hockey team competed in the ACCHL Fall Showcase at the St. James in Springfield, Virginia, playing 3 games in 3 days. Carolina kicked off the weekend with a Friday night tilt against the Rowan Profs. After the Heels gave up a goal in the first, they answered right back as sophomore Carson Rain tied up the game 1-1. Carolina then got the offense rolling in the second with senior Cole Kozowski here backhand forehand goal on that breakaway, and freshman Daniel Culver scored 2 of his own goals, including this one off a far pass from Florian Zaich that Culver tipped in to extend the lead. The Tar Heels offense scored 6 unanswered goals to give them the 6-1 victory against the Profs. In the second day of the showcase, the Heels took to the ice against Penn State, the Ice Lions. Kozowski potted 2 more goals, leading the Heels to the 3-2 win. Then yesterday, Carolina completed the showcase with a matchup against Rider University. The Broncs took advantage of their first of 2 5-minute power plays, drawing first blood on that goal from Eddie Coyne. The second period was dominated again by the Broncs as they raised their lead to 4-0. Kozowski took advantage of a loose puck here, though, tapped it into the net for the Heels' first goal with only 6 minutes to go in the game. That was it, though, for all the Heels, who fell 4-1 to Rider.
It was a busy weekend for Carolina Athletics. SportsCenter had UNC Field Hockey as the top play of the week. Let's see if they got it right. We have 2 of our own phenomenal plays from this weekend. Our first play is from the ACC men's soccer quarterfinals against Wake Forest with this curler from outside the 18-yard box by Ahmad Al-Kwak, which gave them the 1-0 win to send them to the ACC semifinals. And our second play is, of course, the SportsCenter top play of the week, where Riley Heck has this insane air dribble off a penalty corner in the ACC championship game to go up 1-0 against the Blue Devils.
To vote for the play of the week, go to our Instagram stories this week, and we will reveal the winner on Friday's show. Now, Caroline, you were in Charlottesville on Friday night, a little chilly. What was the overall environment? ACC title against Duke, shutout. What was it like?
It was electric. I mean, seeing them win at UVA against Duke, second time in 2 weeks. I mean, it was Aaron Matson's first ACC championship as head coach. It was awesome to be there. I was with some of our friends filming the game, and it was incredible.
Especially, they can win a national championship and not leave Karen Shelton Stadium. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I am 110%. I love UNC Field Hockey. I'll be at every single game, all 4, knock on wood. You better be there too.
I will absolutely be there. Everybody get to Karen Shelton Stadium in the next couple weeks. Carolina's got a chance to win a national championship at home like they did in 2020. It'll be a pretty cool opportunity. That does it for this edition of Sports Extra. We'll be back on Friday with a preview of another exciting weekend of Carolina Athletics.